After getting home to two alarmed parents, Fuki takes a shower and goes to bed. The next morning, during a breakfast consisting of BHB, beignet, beans, and maize porridge, he pleads with his father to help him save the woods as a gift to soften the heartbreak caused by the move. He tells his father that those woods are his favorite place in the world and that he would be very saddened to have them go and not be able to walk in them every time he visits Douala. His father gives in, as usual, and makes plans to negotiate buying the wooded land for Fuki. 2 months later, Fuki's family moves, and as agreed with the tree, Fuki stays behind while his double takes his place with his family in Disange. He has some money saved that he puts into renting a luxury apartment, and he hires help to provide for his domestic needs. This time, he gets to pick them. It was so good to be free to roam around and make his own decisions. He truly loved his newly found freedom. No low-performing help to make his eggs too hard or make his bed the wrong way. Nobody to tell him when he should get out of bed or pester him about changing his clothes. This was the life he had always dreamed of. Yes, a life so good that Fuki was checking on his double less and less. He contacted him during the first 2 weeks, but it is not long before he stops altogether. The money Fuki had saved lasted him over 6 months. At the end of the 6th month, he thinks that it is time to go back to the tree and bring things back to normal, even if that meant moving to Disange. He is actually starting to miss his family, even as annoying and boring as they are. So one sunny afternoon, he walks back to the willow tree and, making sure nobody is watching, he approaches it and starts the conversation. "Hello again, Mutowe. It's me, Fuki," he starts. No response. That's weird, Fuki thinks. "Hello?" Still no response. Fuki doesn't know what to do. He thinks that perhaps the tree is sleeping, so he gives it a gentle tap, but nothing happens. He then gives it a harder tap, but still nothing. At this point, he is getting alarmed. Something is wrong, he thinks to himself. Something is definitely wrong. He stares at the tree one last time, then rushes back to the main road, hails a taxi, and heads to Disange. When he arrives at his parents' new home, he is greeted by old Dume, the gatekeeper. This latter looks at him curiously, then asks, "May I help you?" "What do you mean, may I help you? Let me in or I'll get you fired," says Fuki, outraged. But old Dume stops him from entering the property by standing between him and the gate. "Who are you?" asks old Dume. "It's me, Fuki," says Fuki. To Fuki's astonishment, old Dume bursts out laughing and then says, "And I am Roger Miller. Listen, kid, I don't have time for this kind of nonsense. Go back to wherever you came from," he simply says, then begins closing the gate. Fuki stops him and forces himself into the courtyard. He runs towards the house, chased by a limping old Dume. The poor guy had been badly bitten by a vicious dog in infancy and never regained full control of his left leg since then. Fuki knew he would be easy to lose. He rushes straight inside the living and dining room, where his startled parents and guests were having a lunch made of ndole, grilled fish, fried plantains, and miyondos. "Ekie!" his mother screams. One of the guests, his cheeks still full of food, grabs a butter knife and looks ready to strike. "Take whatever you want, but please, please do not harm us," his father yells. "Dad, it's me," says Fuki. Fuki's mother sends a shocked look at her husband. "Oh, no, I only have one child," his alarmed dad replies to his wife's accusatory look. Old Dume finally reaches Fuki and grabs him by his shirt's collar. "Sorry, boss. I tried to stop him, but he bypassed me at the gate. I did not expect him to be so bold as to rush inside," he says, breathing heavily. "This is ridiculous," shouts Fuki. "This is my house. I have the right to be here." "Who are you?" asks his father, very intrigued. "Come on, it's me, Fuki." His father's eyes widen up in disbelief, but also in pity. This poor guy is not right in the head, he thinks. Fuki can hear one of the guests unsuccessfully stifle laughter. Everybody in the dining room stays quiet for a moment. Then his mother calls out loud over her shoulder, "Fuki!" For a very brief moment, Fuki is relieved. At last someone came back to their senses, he thinks. A mother always knows her child. He smiles, a triumphant smile, full of pride and void of gratitude. But his joy is short-lived. Right down the hallway emerges him, the other him, looking exactly like him with the same mannerism, same voice, same everything. Man, Fuki thinks, that somber-looking old willow did a phenomenal job. "Yes, mother," his double replies, talking to his mother. "That's not your mother, you imposter. You're a phony," barks Fuki. "She is my mom. I am Fuki Mbingui, not you." He goes on to explain the whole story to an astonished audience. His deal with the tree and everything. They all listen, even the guest who was still holding the knife and chomping a bite of food now and then. Once Fuki's oration finished, his father simply says, "I don't know what is wrong with you, but please leave. Look at yourself," he adds, pointing to a mirror behind Fuki. Fuki turns around and his heart skips a beat. His reflection is that of a completely different man, a middle-aged man, short and plump, nothing like the skinny, tall young man he is. "Please leave my family alone," his father continues. Furious, Fuki realizes that he has been had and makes a move toward the fake Fuki to take a jab at him, but finds himself unable to do so. His body instantly freezes, then everything around him becomes blurry and dark. He loses consciousness again. When he wakes up, Fuki is back in the woods in Douala. He is standing up. He touches his head, then tries to take a step. He cannot. His feet are glued to the ground. He looks down, and to his utter horror, he has no feet. He has a trunk instead, and roots. He looks at his hands and arms. They are branches. He has turned into a tree, an African willow. He screams, but no sound comes out of his mouth. He then starts crying, a silent cry. Moments later, he sees someone approaching. It is him, Fuki. Well, the other Fuki. He comes right to him, knowing exactly where he is. Once he reaches him, he stops. Do you understand what you did? He asked Fuki, the real Fuki. But of course, Fuki could not reply. He was a human, stuck in a tree. You did not keep your end of the bargain, Fuki, the other Fuki said. We had a deal. You were supposed to check on me every week, but you did not. That rule was for you to demonstrate a sense of responsibility. You took so much pleasure in your freedom that you forgot your obligations. Plus, you never appreciated anything. You are an ungrateful, spoiled brat, Fuki Mbingui. That's what you are. And for that, you will spend the rest of your life in your new form, as a tree. Yes, you guessed right. I am Mutowe, the tree that you kicked. When we shook hands, I took your form too. Let's call it a little guarantee, because I did not fully trust you, so I took advantage of your foolish desire to have a double to impersonate myself as you. I did well, didn't I? He says as he turns around to give Fuki a good look at who he has become. Fuki listens in silence, incapable of movement or words. All he can do is cry. He cries hard, very hard. He cries so hard that his tears manifest themselves in the form of sap that is oozing out of his bark. There is sap everywhere. The other Fuki sees that and gives Fuki a little tap. He feels a little sorry for him. He almost wishes he could help Fuki. Unfortunately, he does not control the laws of nature, and he cannot reverse a covenant made with Mother Nature. I guess you learned the hard way, my friend. From now on, you will have to live a sappy life, he simply says with a sad tone. He taps Fuki gently again, gives him one last look, then walks away forever. Fuki lived as a sapping tree for 200 years. A lot happened during those years, but he could never be part of it. He made peace with himself and the life choice he had made. He actually became famous all throughout the region for being the crying tree. People came from all over the world even to tell him their problems and sorrows. As they did so, the tree would release its sap right there in front of them. The people felt better afterwards, and many claimed that their problems miraculously went away as a result of the tree crying with them. It was in fact Fuki crying because just like him before his ordeal, none of those people realized how good they had it. His ability to release his sap made Fuki a national treasure protected by law. He never got chopped for 200 years thanks to his unique ability to release sap through his trunk and only prompted by words. Lightning got the best of him when it struck him one stormy summer night though. Many wept as they saw in his death their own demise. They made songs about him. Rows were named after him. They wrote poems about him. The crying tree, they said. The crying tree was placed on earth to cry with us. Who is going to feel our pain now? Who is going to make us whole? If only there was another tree that could grant us our wishes somewhere. Oh, if only. The end.